Good morning. Welcome to Navy Week Cleveland, and welcome to today's dedication of the Cleveland Gold Star Family Memorial Monument located outside the Louis Stokes Cleveland VA Medical Center. Today's ceremony marks the successful effort of many to recognize the unimaginable sacrifices of numerous families. We appreciate your presence here today with us. Please rise. Ask the color guard to present the colors. Gold Star Committee Chairman, Secretary Paul Sabatias will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Paul?
Good morning. For those of you not in uniform, with your right hand over your heart, with me, please say, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please remain standing. For those of you who were at either of the last two military appreciation luncheons that the Northeast Ohio Foundation for Patriotism generously hosted, the last two times Woody Williams came to visit our city, our next guest will need no introduction. In fact, she nailed it so beautifully the first two times we thought it was only fitting we asked her to return and help us dedicate this monument here this morning. Petty Officer Second Class Connie Finley separated from the United States Navy honorably in December of 1986. Her last billet serving aboard a submarine tender, the USS Frank Cable. A native Clevelander, Connie has worked here at the VA for nearly 7 years. Please welcome Miss Connie Finley and lend your voice to the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, Ms. Finley. Chief Petty Officer James Holmes retired from the United States Navy with 21 years of honorable service in 2006. His last billet serving as Chief Corpsman for 3rd Battalion, 25th Marine Regiment of the United States Marine Corps Reserve Unit in Brook Park. Since his retirement in 2006, Mr. Holmes has worked here at the Louis Stokes VA Medical Center as a patient advocate. Mr. Holmes will now deliver the invocation for today's ceremony. Chief?
Please join me as we bow our heads together and pray. Dear Lord, we're gathered before you with open minds and open hearts, being mindful the foundation of our spirit lies within you. It is a continual testament of your existence. We pray today for the Gold Star families that they are comforted with your enduring compassion for them from the loss of their loved ones. We are blessed today to hear the story of Mr. Herschel Woody Williams, who has served honorably, proudly wearing the cloth of our nation. We ask, dear Lord, to continue to bless him with good health so that he will continue having opportunities to share his story. Later, as we depart from this setting, we would be remiss if we did not ask for your continued vigilance for those who have served our country and for those members who are currently in harm's way. Continue to bless them and their families with open arms. We'd ask for heartfelt blessings as you provide for us. In your name, we pray. Amen.
Please be seated. It is quite the honor and privilege to serve as the MC for today's dedication ceremony. We stand here as a result of and in recognition of the sacrifices of our fellow Americans, soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardsmen who gave their life in defense of our freedom and our nation. Today, all of us pledge that their gift to us and the price paid by their families will be forever remembered. A Gold Star family member is any father, mother, brother, sister, son, daughter, or relative who has lost a loved one in service of our nation. We are all here today because of you. Thank you for your sacrifice for our liberty and our freedom. And to the family members, thank you for all you have given our great nation. Please welcome the CEO and Director of the Louis Stokes VA Medical Center, Mrs. Sue Fuhrer.
Good morning, and thank you all for coming. I have to tell you, to stand here and look at all of you, it is pretty incredible. Lots of emotion. So many may know that Martin Luther King was once called Liberty Boulevard. And if you look at the big, majestic trees that line Liberty Boulevard, they are oaks. And at the base of many of those oaks is a bronze plaque that has the name of a World War II veteran that didn't come home. This property that we are on is City of Cleveland property, designated as park property. We are very fortunate at the VA Medical Center to have it in front of our building. This memorial was done much to the great work of many, many people, and certainly Frank Mayor Jackson, who allowed this memorial to be on city property. We have plans for other memorials to honor veterans, but certainly no more important memorial than a Gold Star Family Memorial. Those of us that have never lost a loved one in war can never begin to imagine your sacrifice. Our hearts go out to each and every one of you every day. On behalf of the 5,000 employees that serve more than 112,000 living veterans in Northeast Ohio, it is our honor to care for those. We will provide the very best care, and if we can't do it, we will make sure the veteran goes to where they need to go. Again, thanks, all of you. I could go on to talk about how this happened, how much work happened, and it was for the best cause that I can ever imagine. Thank you. Prayers to the Gold Star families.
Thank you. Please welcome our honored guests. The Honorable Robert Wilkie, United States Secretary of Veteran Affairs. the Honorable Thomas B. Modley, Undersecretary of the United States Navy, the Honorable Frank G. Jackson, Army veteran and Mayor of the City of Cleveland, Gold Star parents Dennis and Sheila Nowacki, Rear Admiral Joanna Noonan, 9th District Commander, United States Coast Guard, and Medal of Honor recipient Herschel Woody Williams, United States Marine Corps. We're also fortunate to have with us a World War II Marine, Mr. Aaron Fox, who fought on Iwo Jima, and World War II Navy Corpsman and Silver Star recipient, Mr. Emery Crowder. Thank you for your presence today. Please welcome Mike Swallow, the founder and chairman of NEOPAT, the Northeast Ohio Foundation for Patriotism. Mike?
Good morning. I'm going to tell you that I'll probably be the only civilian that comes up here and speaks. And they gave me a script of what they wanted me to talk about, but I'm not in the military, so I'm going to go off script if that's okay. It's an absolute honor to be up here today representing Northeast Ohio, not only the military community, but also the non-military community. NEOPAT was started 8 years ago to bring together the community to support patriotism and support our men and women in uniform. And over that time, we've become the largest financial supporter of military families and promotion of patriotism. And it's our absolute honor to bring Woody Williams and his foundation to Northeast Ohio and partner with them to bring this beautiful monument and mission to our community. There are so many people to thank as to how we got here today, between fundraising, donation of materials, people lending a helping hand. And what I would tell you is on the back of the program, there's a special thanks to each and every one of them. And I would ask that you please take a look at that and keep them in their prayers, because they're the ones that made today happen. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. As I got up this morning, I started thinking to myself, what do you think the men and women that we're here to honor and their families, but what do you think these men and women did this morning when they got up? And so I started dreaming about it and started thinking a little bit more about, I'm guessing when they found out that we were going to be doing this, I'm sure they put a chain of command order in to make sure we had great weather. That happened. So that's check. I'm pretty sure they got up this morning and put an extra crease in their pants. They wanted to look a little extra special, because they knew all of us were going to be here to honor them and remember them, and more importantly, remember their families. I'm pretty sure they all got together and are standing in lockstep, arm to arm, chin just right, somewhere right about over there, looking down on us with great pride. I'm sure that they're happy. I know they have no pain. They have no stress, and they're enjoying the moment with all of us. They're enjoying the fact that our community will never forget. They're enjoying the fact that their sacrifice did not go unnoticed. And some of our folks that we're honoring, they're 50, 60, 70 years or more. We're never going to forget them. This memorial represents so much more than everything that we can embody here today in spirit. But I know that they're looking down on us, smiling, laughing, and are so proud. So many of us never had the opportunity to say goodbye, but it's really until we meet again. And it is my great pride to represent the community so that all of us can enjoy this moment together. God bless our troops. God bless our Gold Star families. God bless those men and women. And God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. In 2005, Grand River police officer and Marine reservist Lance Corporal Andy Ace Nowacki was 24 years old. He was serving our nation on his second combat tour of duty in Iraq, deployed with the 2nd Battalion, 24th Marine Regiment of the 4th Marine Division. He volunteered to take an extra shift as a gunner protecting a convoy so that a fellow Marine with a young family could have some downtime. On that Saturday, February 26, Andy was killed by a roadside bomb just south of Baghdad. Andy gave his life to protect his fellow Marines, that convoy, and all of us. His parents, Dennis and Sheila Nowacki, have worked tirelessly to support veterans and first responders through the Andy Nowacki Memorial Scholarship Fund. They will share their thoughts on this Gold Star Family Memorial Project. Please welcome Gold Star parents Dennis and Sheila Nowacki.
Thank you. They have us on a timetable, so if you sit down, I can start. All right? Thank you all for coming to celebrate with us this morning. I hope I do justice to what Gold Star families feel about this memorial. At home, we have a box, and in that box are letters and cards we received over 13 years ago. The box split open, and I had no choice but to sort through it. It's something that I haven't done in 13 years. And I found a quote that at the time did not impact me, but I felt that it was pretty appropriate for this morning, so I'd like to share it with you. It was found in the belongings of a priest who was killed in Scotland in 1993. Quote, "Death is nothing at all. I have only slipped away into the next room. I am I, you are you. Whatever we were to each other, that we still are. Call me by my old familiar name. Speak to me in the easy way you always used. Put no difference into your tone. Wear no forced air of solemnity or sorrow. Laugh as we always laughed at the little jokes we enjoyed together. Play, smile, think of me. Pray for me. Let my name be the household name it always was. Let it be spoken without a shadow of a ghost in it. Life means all that it ever meant. It is the same as it ever was. What is death but a negligible accident? Why should I be out of your mind because I am out of your sight? All is well. Nothing is lost. One brief moment and all will be as it was," end quote. This beautiful and peaceful monument will serve as the room where the families can come and we can sit, pray, and communicate with our fallen family members. I don't like to use the word remember because it implies that we forgot, and we never forget the face, the voice, the laughter, the kisses and the hugs of those we have lost in war. They are a constant presence. They are in our minds and in our hearts at every sunrise and in every sunset. For our Gold Star families to have this refuge means more than words can really express. It really epitomizes the emotion that we feel. We can come here, we can sit and reflect, and we can cry, and no one will judge us, and no one will tell us we need to move on. Thank you to Woody for his vision and determination to bring his dream to life for all Gold Star families. We all appreciate the dedication and the hard work that it took to get this memorial where it is, but know that when someone comes here and they find solace, it was certainly worth all the hard work.
After Andy's death, we began sharing our strength and hope with other new Gold Star families whenever possible. As the summer of 2005 approached, the 3 Deuce 5 began sustaining casualties in large numbers, and we were doing our best to go to visit funeral homes and go to funerals. But the first week of August of 2005 was the absolute pits. It was a disaster. It was just horrible, yet it opened our eyes to the incredible love, dedication, and caring that these families demonstrated in the wake of the loss of their loved ones. These families, from different walks of life, social, economic, and familial status, began coming together to support each other. I'll give you an example. I was sitting in a pew in a church in Cleveland Heights for the funeral of Schroeder, and next thing I knew, Paul was sitting next to me, Paul Montgomery. And the thing about that was, Paul had just buried his son the day before, and he was there in support of the next family. And that's the way it went for the rest of that week. It caused me to develop a deep and abiding respect for all of these families. Several years later, the same thing held true when Rich Harmon lost his son Josh. And although all these heroes came from differing backgrounds, they all had one thing in common. At one point in time, they'd all raised their right hands and took a solemn oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States and to bear true faith and allegiance to the same. It is the Constitution that keeps us free and makes America great. And it is these families whose loved ones served in defense of that Constitution. That's why this Gold Star Memorial is so important to me. And thank you for your time, and God bless America.
Thank you, Dennis and Sheila. Thank you. The Honorable Frank G. Jackson, a U.S. Army veteran, is currently serving his 4th term as the 57th mayor of this fine city. Please welcome Mayor Jackson.
Good morning. You know, I want to welcome the Undersecretary of the Navy and the Secretary of the Department of Veterans Affairs, and also Mr. Williams to Cleveland, and some back to Cleveland. I really want to thank NEOPAC and the Woody Williams Foundation and all the other people who made this possible. But to the Gold Star families, I want to express to you that I always find these moments be difficult, because I know that no matter what I say or do is insufficient. So this monument is really something for me that allows an expression of what I really cannot say in words. It is in what is in our hearts as a community. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Honorable Thomas B. Modly was sworn in as the 33rd Undersecretary of the United States Navy on December 4th, 2017. A native of Shaker Heights, Ohio, Undersecretary Modly graduated from the United States Naval Academy and flew UH-N1 Huey helicopters with the call sign of Modes. After serving with distinction, he earned graduate degrees from Georgetown University and Harvard Business School, and then held several private sector leadership positions before serving from 2004 to 2007 as the Deputy Undersecretary of Defense for Financial Management. He has also taught political science at the United States Air Force Academy. Please offer a warm welcome home to this fine Hungarian gentleman and son of Cleveland, the Honorable Thomas B. Modly.
Thank you so much. It's just, you can't imagine how significant it is for me to be here today, not for me, but for the opportunity to spend some time with the Gold Star families of Cleveland, and also to meet Woody Williams for the first time, because what I've come to learn is when Woody Williams comes to town, things happen. I'm the Undersecretary of the Navy, and I didn't know the Blue Angels were going to fly over, but I think he might have made some phone calls this morning. But anyway, so glad to be here and so honored. And I've driven by this spot countless times in my childhood, going down what used to be Liberty Boulevard, now Martin Luther King Drive. And as a Hungarian, son of a Hungarian immigrant from Buckeye Road and then the Heights area, remember distinctly looking at all the cultural gardens as you drive through that beautiful drive down to the lake from here, representing all the different ethnicities that exist in this tremendous city. And today, reflecting back on how fortunate I was to grow up in a place like this, but also to recognize that every single one of those cultural markers is about a family and a family's journey to this city, and the impact that those families made collectively in the city, both in industry and in academia and in medicine, and most importantly, as we're talking today, about service to our country. And when I started preparing for this trip, one of the great things about this job is you can sort of ruminate out loud, and then someone writes it down, and the next thing you know, you've got like several pages of information about what you were just ruminating about. And I was ruminating the other day about Cleveland's contributions to World War II, because I knew I would be coming here and meeting with industry leaders. And I got all this great information about what Sherwin-Williams did, and Warner and Swayze, and the Cleveland Pneumatic Company, and Ford Motor Company, and General Motors out at the Fisher plant. Just incredible. But I came across a story that really touched me, and I thought it'd be appropriate to share with all of you today. And that was the story of a woman named Julia Dudas. And Julia Dudas came to the United States from Hungary in 1908 and settled here in the city and raised 5 children. And in the process of raising her children and trying to make her way here in the city of Cleveland with her husband, she was too busy and too committed to her family to have time to study for her citizenship exam. She learned English, but she never had the time to study for her citizenship exam. So ironically, when the war broke out, 4 of her sons enlisted and went off to war. And that gave her the time to study for her citizenship exam, which she went and she passed, and she was sworn in as a citizen of the United States of America. At that moment, she called home to tell her husband that she had passed her citizenship exam. And her husband said, "You need to come home, because we just were informed that our son, our oldest son, had lost his life in the Philippines." By the time she got home, there was another telegraph waiting for her that her second son had also been killed in the Philippines that same week. And then a week later, more news that their third son had been lost in France. Their fourth son was in Texas in the Army, and his name was Zoltan, which was my father's name. And they sent him back here to Cleveland. So as I was thinking about this story, and I was thinking about the tremendous contributions that people of the city have made during World War II, and there's a great quote in a book that was written by about the history of the war and the industrial capacity of the United States, and someone said, if Hitler could have gone up on the highest bridge in Cleveland and looked down into the industrial areas of the flats, he never would have started World War II, because of what we were able to accomplish here to contribute to that. And that's all true, but there's nothing more true than the human capacity that's created in this city and the sacrifices that people made by allowing their sons and daughters to enlist and to serve in the service of this country. And I don't know what happened in your families, but something happened that made your son or daughter realize that it was honorable to do this. And I don't know what that was, and I'm not even sure what it was in my family when I joined. But thank God it was there, because without it, we would not have this country. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for inviting me to be part of this very, very important day. And I'm so proud to be standing here in my hometown and have the opportunity to thank you personally for your tremendous sacrifices for our country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. The Honorable Robert Wilkie was nominated by President Trump to serve as the 10th Secretary of Veterans Affairs and was sworn in on July 30th, 2018. Previously, Mr. Wilkie served as the Secretary of Defense Mattis as the Undersecretary of Defense for Personnel and Readiness. The son of an Army artillery commander, Mr. Wilkie spent a large part of his youth at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. He previously served in the United States Navy Reserve with the Joint Forces Intelligence Command, Navy Special Warfare Group 2, and the Office of Naval Intelligence. Today, he is an officer in the United States Air Force Reserve, assigned to the Office of the Chief of Staff, holding the rank of Lieutenant Colonel. He holds personal and unit decorations, as well as the Defense Distinguished Public Service Medal. Woody, would you tell him to knock it off? We're trying to get through your program here. I saw you on your phone. I figured you were sending him a text telling that we were trying to speed things up. Mr. Wilkie holds an honors degree from Wake Forest University, a Juris Doctorate from Loyola University Chicago of Law in New Orleans, a Master of Laws in International and Comparative Law from Georgetown, and a Master's in Strategic Studies from the United States Army War College. Please give a warm Cleveland welcome to the United States Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Mr. Robert Wilkie.
The lieutenant didn't say it. That was the United States Navy asking me, why did you end up joining the Air Force? Thank you all. Mr. Mayor, faculty and staff here at the Cleveland VA, citizens of one of America's great cities. I want to start today by remembering another casualty of Vietnam, a man who will be laid to rest at the United States Naval Academy on Sunday, a man whose life of selfless service reminds us why we do what we do, and that is Senator John McCain. He is in our thoughts and prayers today. This last few weeks, as I've been traveling around the country as the VA Secretary, I've been reminding people of the 100th anniversary of the end of the war to end all wars. The Bible that I took my oath on in the Oval Office a few weeks ago was carried into battle by my wife's grandfather. He was a teenager. In his life, he'd probably never ventured beyond 3 or 4 counties in North and South Carolina. But by the time he was 18, he was marching up the Champs-Élysées into battle, just like thousands of young boys from Cleveland and Ohio. In 1918, the United States of America burst onto the world stage in that war. At a place called Chateau Thierry, green American troops were thrown into the breach to prevent the Imperial German Army from capturing Paris. The attack that they carried out that day was so ferocious that it stunned the German High Command. In another part of that battlefield, the United States Marine Corps, the Marine Brigade, entered into the Belleau Wood and pushed back a German force 5, 6, 7 times its size. And the story goes that the Kaiser himself was found wandering around Imperial German headquarters, muttering to himself, the Teufelhund, the devil hounds. That was the United States of America bursting onto the world stage. In that same year, the Gold Star families erupted into the conscience of the United States of America. If you go to Chateau Thierry today, there is a massive monument on Hill 204 where the 3rd Infantry Division earned its immortal nickname, the Rock of the Marne. In a monument dedicated to the people of the United States by the people of France, there is a monument within a monument dedicated to the Gold Star mothers and Gold Star families of the United States of America, whose sons had done so much to free Europe from tyranny. In those immediate after years of World War I, the Gold Star mothers petitioned the United States Congress to allow families a pilgrimage to Western Europe. That caught the attention of the Chief of Staff of the American Battle Monuments Commission, a young major who was working for General Pershing, and through his efforts, 7,000 Gold Star mothers made the trip to France. That man was Major Dwight David Eisenhower. Many years later, when he was entering the office of President of the United States, President Eisenhower decided that during the Korean War, the presidential yacht Williamsburg was a luxury that a democracy at war could not afford, and he decided to scrap it. Except he got some countermanding orders from the one person whose orders he could never disobey, Mamie. Mamie said to the president, "No, keep it. But the only time you take that ship out is when you have wounded soldiers and the families of our fallen warriors." 5 months after he was inaugurated, the Williamsburg got ready. On the ship were 40 warriors from Korea, many missing limbs, some horribly disfigured. And you know what happens in Washington when the president arrives. Ike arrived at the pier, and before he could get out of the car, the Secret Service had run up the plank to separate the President of the United States from his troops. As only a man like Eisenhower could do, he yelled, "Halt! Get behind me, I know these men." He asked to address those who could stand at attention, those who could did. And he said, "The United States of America can never compensate you for what you have given to America. But you have orders from me. You never put away your uniform. You are always on duty. You live to remind your fellow citizens why they sleep soundly at night. And I can think of no better testament to the Gold Star families than to say your presence here, your presence across this great land, exists to remind your fellow citizens why they sleep soundly at night. We can never thank you enough. I will leave you with a God bless from the President of the United States, God bless from me, and God bless not only from a grateful nation, but from a grateful world for the contributions you have made for the good of all mankind. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Herschel Woody Williams was born on a dairy farm in 1923 in Quiet Dell, West Virginia. He enlisted in the United States Marine Corps second time around? First time? First time failed, second time. He served in the Battle of Iwo Jima with the 21st Marines, 3rd Division. During the battle, Mr. Williams displayed valiant devotion to duty and service above self as he enabled his company to reach its objective. His actions, commitment to fellow service members, and heroism They knew I was talking about you, didn't they? They just knew. They just knew. On October 5th, 1945, when he received the Congressional Medal of Honor from President Truman at the White House, Mr. Williams is the sole surviving Marine from World War II to wear the Medal of Honor. Following the war, Woody served for the Department of Veterans Affairs for 33 years as a veteran service representative, allowing him to continue serving veterans and their families. As World War II began, Woody came into direct contact with families in his own community when he delivered Western Union telegrams, informing families of the death of their loved one. Woody says those experiences gave him a greater appreciation for life and an understanding of the difference in death in the normal world as expected in life and those lost serving in the military for their country. To date, Woody and his foundation are responsible for establishing 39 Gold Star family memorial monuments across the United States, with 45 other monuments underway. Shortly here, Woody will establish this as the 40th Gold Star family monument. Woody's actions have often been recognized by our military and its highest officers. Recently, the Secretary of the Navy named the USNS Herschel Woody Williams Mobile Sea Base for Woody, not after him. I made that mistake once, never again. Mr. Williams began his military career with a commitment to country, service members, veterans, and families. He continues that commitment throughout his active engagement with local communities in recognizing and commemorating the service and devotion to duty of our servicemen and women. Please warmly welcome Medal of Honor recipient Herschel Woody Williams.
Thank you very much. Thank all of you. Would everyone sit but Gold Star family members? Everyone sit except Gold Star family members. Could the rest of us express to them our appreciation not only for being here, but for the sacrifice that they made so we could be here? Let's do that. Thank you. Please be seated. For a country boy from West Virginia to follow in the footsteps of the Undersecretary of Navy and the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, I'm not even sure I ought to be here. But thank you, gentlemen, for coming and sharing your thoughts and your time with us. And to the Gold Star families, we're here because of you. I continue to try to stress that these monuments, these memorials to the loved ones, is not about me at all. I'm just a cog in the wheel. I hope I can keep the wheel turning so that all over America, people will come to the realization of the sacrifice that has kept us a free people. Sitting at my kitchen table night before last, thinking about what I was going to say, I had a calendar on the table. I get calendars, a lot of them. Of course, they want some money when they send me a calendar, but I get a lot of calendars. And there was a calendar before me, and I opened it up to September 2019. And when I did, I looked at the days of celebration or recognition on that calendar. Labor Day, we will observe Monday. Grandparents' Day, we will observe on the 8th. Patriots' Day, we will observe on the 11th. On the 17th, we're going to observe Citizenship Day. And on the 23rd will be the first day of autumn. but on the 29th of September, which has been ruled or ordered by our government to be Gold Star Families Day. But it's not on this calendar. Certainly it should be. I have nothing wrong with Rosh Hashanah. I don't know for sure what that consists of, but certainly the families of our loved ones who made that sacrifice ought to have some recognition on our national calendar. Without getting political, I hope you all, many of you, will feel the same way, and we can implore upon our leaders, let's do something on the 29th so we, not only we who will understand a little bit about that sacrifice, that others, our youth, our young people, will have some concept of why they have all the privileges they have to live in the greatest country on earth. This community is one of those in America that is taking the lead to recognize and to educate and inform the public about the sacrifices that have kept us free, the sacrifice of a loved one. The families of those who made that supreme sacrifice, we hope in many communities throughout America, as has been said, this is number 40. But many places in many states should have a memorial, because Gold Star families are part of that community. They live there. I do have to brag a little bit. West Virginia, we have 5 already existing in the state of West Virginia. The communities did it, we didn't. Number 6 is just now getting prepared, and they've got about half of their funds raised to have one in Wheeling, West Virginia, which will be number 6. Our legislature just last March passed a law to say that there will be a Gold Star Family Memorial Monument on the Capitol grounds of West Virginia. It's not going to be the size of these. Since West Virginia was the first one to establish such a memorial, they're going to make it twice the size. Arkansas and Louisiana have already agreed that there should be one on their Capitol grounds, so that the Gold Star families within that state will have some representation and recognition for their sacrifice. I hope Ohio, I hope Columbus will do the same for their people. Someone so much smarter than I wrote what is known as or what they called at least, a Gold Star Family Lament. I'm going to close with this. It could be any one of your children, my grandchildren. It could be any member of a family anywhere in the United States, because it is so typically American. And it goes like this. Our boy went off to the military. Our boy went off to the military. He said he wanted to go to give many others a freedom they don't know. He said, I was so fortunate to be born in the USA and to have all of the privileges that have come my way. I could tell that he loved America and wanted to do what's right. He wanted to do his duty for country and, if necessary, to fight. We all knew the danger, but prayed that he would be safe. Then we were notified that he had met his fate. Our hearts broke in many pieces, and our grief was very deep. He was willing to give, although it made us weep. We are so proud of what he did and the sacrifice he made, he gave. We pray that our country, by his efforts, will be saved. And as we shed our tears of sorrow, we know he rests in peace, having given all he had to help wars of violence cease. And he would say to others, be brave and stand strong. We're all a part of America, right where we belong. He's standing guard in heaven with all of his buddies near. They sacrificed their lives so we could be safe here. Let us all remember what freedom really costs. Never, never to forget the loved ones that many of you lost. God bless you.
Thank you, Woody. I would now ask our Gold Star family members to please come forward and help us unveil the monument here. Once the monument is unveiled, as a symbolic gesture of sacrifice for their loved one, our family members will lay a single yellow rose at the base of the monument. Those roses will remain at the monument until civil twilight this evening. Family members, please come forward. Yeah, either side of the monument works. All right, on three, Woody. 1, 2, 3.